So our reporter James Savundra is here with us throughout the morning. James, you're going to shed a bit more light on this for us. If you was Harry Potter, what spell would you recommend? Harry Potter fan?
I am a Harry Potter fan, but I think Erik needs a big spell to try and turn things around at United after the first three matches.
Because, listen, it's very early in the season to be getting the backing of the hierarchy, isn't it?
Yeah, it does. I mean, Omar Barada and Dan Ashworth spoke to the national press ahead of the match against Liverpool, and at that point, United had won their opening game against Fulham, lost in the dying minutes against Brighton, but 3 points in 3 games isn't a brilliant start. But both Omar Barada and Dan Ashworth said they absolutely believe in Erik ten Hag. They believe he's the right man to lead Manchester United forward. Both men speaking to the press and making clear that they'll do everything in their powers to help Ten Hag to get United to where they need to be this season. And they feel like United are heading in the right direction as a club. It was a really impressive summer in terms of what they did from a recruitment point of view. But also both men were keen to point out the fact is they only started work at the beginning of July. So they had no say on what happened to Erik ten Hag in the summer, because we know there was a lengthy review process that took place, and they spoke to a number of different candidates over the course of the summer. We can see some of the people they spoke to and considered, like Kieran McKenna at Ipswich, lots of interest in him. They had conversations with Thomas Frank at Brentford, Mauricio Pochettino, so long linked with the job at Manchester United. Thomas Tuchel, they held conversations with him when it became clear he wasn't going to stay on at Bayern Munich. And Roberto De Zerbi, who left Brighton at the back end of last season, now the Marseille head coach. But what the United hierarchy did before Barada and Dan Ashworth started work is they had a lengthy review about the season last year. United finished 8th in the Premier League table, a negative goal difference. But that victory in the FA Cup final against Manchester City felt like it did turn the tide. I think there was a lot of fan optimism about life under Erik ten Hag after what had been a really difficult first couple of seasons. There were so many injuries last season, which had a real factor for them as well. But we can hear what Omar Barada has had to say when it comes to Erik ten Hag staying on as Manchester United. And he said that Erik has our full backing and we've worked very closely together. Do we believe in Erik? Absolutely. We're going to continue working very closely with him to help him get the best result out of the team. We think Erik is the right coach for us and we're backing him. And also sporting director Dan Ashworth also said he's enjoying working with Ten Hag. The club will continue to support him in any and every possible way to deliver success for Manchester United. So the hierarchy at Manchester United backing their man despite what has been an already troubling start to the season.
Yeah, very early days, but as you expect, the story is dominating the sporting headlines this morning. How are the newspapers covering it? Yeah,
this is the biggest story in town. So the fallout continued to that 3-0 defeat for Manchester United against Liverpool. David McDonnell, they're saying in the Daily Express, Reds will give Erik more time. He's going to be given more time despite what was a humiliating defeat. Yes, there were individual areas. I'm not sure how much you can blame Erik ten Hag for some of the defensive midfield errors that were made. But also pointing out here as well, the fact is that still Erik ten Hag is one of the favourites to get sacked first this season. So despite having that positive backing in the summer, that one-year contract extension, it does feel like he does need to get results right soon, or there could be immense pressure on his future at the club. Also in the Star, they picked up on the quotes from Erik ten Hag in the post-match. I think this is always going to come back to haunt him, saying he's not Harry Potter, but it does feel like he needs a quick fix. He needs a spell to try and get United back on track. Time to find that wand, Erik. Given a spell of time to turn things around. David McDonnell here, again, in the Daily Star, saying that despite the fact that it has been a really disappointing start to the season, they backed in the summer, he will be given an opportunity to turn things around. And then also in the Mirror, again, you're getting backed in the morning. So that's good news for Erik ten Hag, getting the unequivocal backing from Omar Barada and Dan Ashworth. He'll be given time to transform United's season. And we spoke to a couple of journalists last night on Backpages tonight, and they gave their take on Erik ten Hag's future at Manchester United, despite the fact he got that high-profile backing from Omar Barada and Dan Ashworth.
One thing is absolutely crystal clear is that United have made their choice. They believe in Ten Hag. They think he's the man to go forward, and they've got to give him that time and that support and that backing for the long term, not just the short term. You know, us in the media are always knocking clubs for being too knee jerk, and I do think Ten Hag, bearing in mind his record of winning trophies, the emphasis is clear. He's got to get United back into the Champions League places. United expect nothing less than that. They expect to be dining at the European football's top table. And I do think, even though that backing has come, I'm sure that this season will be judged on whether he gets back into the Champions League or not.
I still think it's going to end in tears with Ten Hag, but not yet. And he might be the bookies' favourite to get the sack. I don't think that will be right. I think one or two will go in front of him. And I really hope it does work out for him and United, but I'm just not sure. There's still so many fundamental issues with that team, and I think Dan Ashworth certainly knows that.
Mark's here to bring in-depth analysis, context, insight, and just general good vibes.
You've put a lot of pressure on me already.
It was a tough day for Man United, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's a familiar feeling for us and for Manchester United fans. Once again, at this very early stage of the season, we're talking about Erik ten Hag, the pressure he's under, the start to the season, 2 defeats in 3 in the Premier League, substitutions booed. There was a malaise around Old Trafford and a sense of, we've seen this story already before, and it's the same story, and it's getting a bit frustrating. And you have to say, you look at the Manchester United performance yesterday, and it just wasn't up to standard. Maybe they started the way that they'd expect. There was an intensity, there was a bit of pace to the game, there was a tempo from the home side, but it disappeared quite quickly, and Liverpool looked streets ahead of Manchester United. And that'll be a huge problem for those Manchester United fans that were so expectant off the back of this summer. This was the summer of rejuvenation. Omar Berrada coming into the football club. This was the first real proper transfer window under Sir Jim Radcliffe and Sir Dave Brailsford. They brought in Dan Ashworth, sporting director, to spearhead the recruitment. Jason Wilcox also there. They brought in some young, exciting players. They'd spent big bucks. This was the start of the new era. This was the real start
You're
of
really
Erik ten
selling
Hag
it
at Manchester United. But yet, Monday morning, same old story. And I think one of the reasons as to why this will be seen as a little bit of a surprise is because recent form against Liverpool has actually been quite good. Now, let's take a look at this. This is the last 4 fixtures at Old Trafford. And if you go back to August 2022, Manchester United, they beat Liverpool 2-1. Look at the possession, though. 30% United. Liverpool had so much of the ball, but yet Manchester United end up with all 3 points. March 2024, that very famous victory, 4-3 against Liverpool. Once again, look at the possession, Bella. What are you seeing there?
Yeah, again, it's 42% United, 58 Liverpool.
So Liverpool having more of the ball. April 24, Manchester United 2, Liverpool 2. Same story once again, 38% to 62. So in those 3 games, you can see Liverpool having the ball. But yesterday, Liverpool, 3-0 winners, 3 points to Arne Slot's side. But look at the possession.
47%.
Clearly a tactic from Arne Slot. Let's let Manchester United have the ball. We're comfortable out of possession. Work rate, energy, high press.
Yeah.
And exactly that's what happened. All 3 Liverpool goals came from winning the ball in the Manchester United half. So a different tactic compared to Jurgen Klopp. Less of the ball, but they've dominated the game when it comes to the big chances and the goals. And they leave Old Trafford with all 3 points.
What did you make of Liverpool's window? They were quiet, but seems to have worked out all right.
Well, this was a thing we'll be talking about throughout the course of today. I know Liverpool fans have been hugely frustrated at their summer activity. It could have been so different. You know, they were in for Anthony Gordon at one stage. That could have happened. You know, Richard Hughes and Michael Edwards can't cater for Martin Zubimendi at Real Sociedad, deciding, thanks very much, but actually, I don't fancy the Liverpool project. They could have had a really good midfielder there. He decided not to join. Obviously, they got Federico Chiesa done. That was a fantastic deal. And Mamardashvili will be joining next summer. So there's only one player that Liverpool fans are really going to see, but it could have been so different. But when you look at the start to the campaign, you look at last season, how they were essentially in for a quadruple at one stage. This is still a really strong squad. We'll talk about Mo Salah, we'll talk about Trent Alexander-Arnold, we'll talk about Virgil van Dijk later.
All right.
But no question.
I've gone early, haven't I?
That's all right. That's a big talking point. We'll get into that in a bit.
I know what you thought. OK. Well, let's talk about Casemiro.
Yes.
Because there was quite a few errors yesterday. Talk us through.
Yeah, this is something that Arne Slot said in the post-match press conference and to Dave Jones on Super Sunday. He wanted to win the ball high. He wanted to put Manchester United under pressure. He wanted to allow them to have the ball to play out from the back. And this is what led to the mistakes. And unfortunately for Casemiro, two of those Manchester United problems were his responsibility. Being dispossessed there, losing the ball. And then you can see Luis Diaz so quick with the way he returns the ball to Salah. And that's the quality pass, the quality finish. It's dynamic. It's Jurgen Klopp's side at its best, but it's under a new manager. And you can see how effective they were. And Jurgen Klopp, Arne Slot said after the game, he knew the Manchester United fullbacks would be high when Manchester United had the ball. So he knew there'd be gaps in behind. And that was something they were looking to exploit. They've done exactly that. So I think when you look at the game plan from Liverpool and Arne Slot, he's got it absolutely spot on. Like you say, Casemiro at fault for 2 of the goals and brought off at half-time, so he was. Ten Hag dismissed rumours that the midfielder left the stadium before full-time. But once again, there is scrutiny over Casemiro's status as an elite player. Ten Hag believes he still has more to give.
Everyone has to take responsibility, and I'm sure he's a great character, and he won everything in his career, what you can imagine, and I'm sure he will keep contributing to our team. And Casemiro is always winning, so he will be there.
Ten Hag, not the only one defending Casemiro. This is the midfielder's wife, Anna Mariana. She made a point on social media to post his very stacked trophy collection. It is stacked, it is bulging, he's won a fair bit. Maybe he's not the player he was when he won all those trophies at Real Madrid.
Supportive wife, though.
Absolutely.
OK, so what about this then? So we're looking at the errors here leading to shots.
Yeah, this was something that was highlighted on Super Sunday post-match analysis, and you can see here this is a really big problem for Manchester United. Errors leading to goals, 3. Errors leading to shots, 4. And when you look at the Premier League records, that's a Premier League unwanted record for Manchester United.
Is this on the players or the manager?
Well, this is the age-old question, isn't it? You know, ultimately, the players make mistakes. Can the manager change that? Do anything about that? Affect that? No. That's a player's individual responsibility. However, some might say, what are they working on in the training pitch? They've been caught high up the pitch 3 times in one game. So therefore, is that a problem with the way they're being coached, the plan, the tactics, the philosophy? We'll go into this in more detail, but clearly Manchester United fans not happy, Liverpool fans loving it this Monday morning.
OK, I'm loving this. Thanks, Mark.
Euro, Hodgland, Shaw, latest Manchester United injury updates and return dates. Get the latest on Manchester United's injury news and expected return dates, including updates on Lenny Yoro, Rasmus Hodgland, Luke Shaw, and more. Manchester United heads into the international break with several key players sidelined by injuries. After a disheartening 3-0 loss to Liverpool at Old Trafford on Sunday, Erik ten Hag's team finds itself in 14th place in the Premier League, having suffered 2 defeats in their first 3 matches. The focus will soon shift to United's next Premier League match, an away game against Southampton later this month. United will also kick off their Europa League campaign against FC 20 and face Barnsley at home in the 3rd round of the Carabao Cup. United was missing several first-team players in their weekend defeat to Liverpool. Here's a roundup of when the Reds hope to have these players back on the pitch as they recover from their respective injuries. Lenny Yoro. Lenny Yoro has yet to make his competitive debut for United after suffering a metatarsal fracture during the preseason tour in the United States. Yoro underwent successful surgery last month and was given a 3-month recovery timeline. As a result, United does not expect the defender to be available until the end of the year. Rasmus Hodgland. Rasmus Hodgland sustained a tendon injury during United's preseason friendly against Arsenal in the United States. Hodgland has been in recovery since then, missing the first 3 Premier League matches of the season, as well as the Community Shield. United hopes to have the forward available after the international break. Potential return date, Southampton, September 14th. Luke Shaw. Luke Shaw suffered a calf injury during preseason, and the United left-back has been sidelined ever since. Having missed the first 4 matches of the season, including the Community Shield, United confirmed that they were hopeful Shaw would return after the international break. It remains to be seen if the left-back will be ready for the trip to St. Mary's later this month. Potential return date, Southampton, September 14th. Tyrell Malaysia. Tyrell Malaysia has been out with a knee injury since May 2023, following a setback in his recovery. Ten Hag recently spoke about the left-back, expressing optimism that Malaysia could return soon. Malaysia has not made a single appearance for United in over a year, but the club is hopeful that the defender is close to rejoining the squad. Potential return date, October. Mason Mount. Mason Mount is the latest addition to United's injury list, having confirmed on social media that he would be out for a foreseeable period due to a small muscular problem. Although no specific timeline was given, the English international missed United's loss to Liverpool on Sunday because of the injury. Victor Lindelof. Victor Lindelof is currently out with a toe injury sustained during United's pre-season defeat to Liverpool in the United States. Lindelof has not yet returned to training, and no timeline has been provided for his return. Ten Hag is likely to offer an update on Lindelof's fitness when he addresses the media after the international break. Potential return date, unknown.